Welcome to the Rotary. It's a great day to be a Rotarian. Today, the prayers by Dwayne Golden, the pledge by Liz Patterson, the four-way test, David Weiland, and the song by David Ellis. Would you please rise?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather and serve our community. Thank you for the fellowship and the food that we've enjoyed. Watch over us, guide us, and protect us. And it's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Will you please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Number one.
Is it true?
Number two.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Number three.
Will it build better friendships?
Number four.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Okay, you notice there's no blue book on your table today because we're going to do a Christmas song. You probably heard this one before. It's called Joy to the World.
Yeah.
Here we go. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare in room. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and blood, rocks, hills and plains, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders and wonders of his love.
Merry Christmas. You may be seated. Any visiting Rotarians that might not have got on the sheet today? And we do have a guest, David.
My lovely wife Sheila is back from Altrusa today.
Hi, everyone. Debbie.
And then, okay, hang on. Katie, you have a guest?
I do. I forgot to go up there and put him on there. But this is Matt, and he was the absolute hands down best gatekeeper we ever had at the Haunted Landmark. So he's here to encourage everybody. Let's go ahead and make enough money so we can start the Haunted Landmark again.
Yeah. Trina?
I have my oldest grandson, Stockton Harrington. He's here with me today because he is volunteering to help build the blessing boxes that we've got set up in the room adjacent. So I'm really excited for him to be here with me today.
Welcome, Stockton. I love you. Okay, happy bucks. Let's dig deep. You guys, this goes to the Satellite Club, the Rotary Satellite Club, to end human trafficking. Everybody happy? Come on, Tammy.
Do we have any happy people around? I see David, yours go first. Mr. Mays will take you.
Okay. I'm just happy we can give to an organization that's really dire need that we have in this community. Thank you so much for being part of it.
Yes. All righty. Here we go, Dave.
You see all of these sacks up here? They're full of toiletries, and we're going to be giving that to Win. And in addition to that, I've got $230 here. In the event that someone wants to make an additional donation, feel free to do so. But they'll be delivered hopefully this afternoon and make some folks happy.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good.
All right. Good deal, David. Here we go. So, there you go. I'm just happy to be here. Anybody else happy? All right, buddy. Good to see you.
I'm not allowed to
Okay. There
You know, I'm not gonna pass up the microphone.
I know this.
So I am super happy. I put a couple extra bucks in there. Yesterday was my 50th birthday, and all of my kids and grandkids got together, and they all got me a James Avery charm for my charm bracelet. So my James Avery charm will be too heavy for me to actually wear now, but that's okay. I love it.
That's sweet. Happy birthday, baby. Anyone else? Here we go.
50th.
Okay. All right,
Just starting this
there we
to get
go.
off.
You need the mic?
No,
Okay,
I can talk long enough.
Okay.
Everybody, I'm happy in this holiday season. My daughter, from Seattle, Washington, is coming to visit over the holidays. And I'm thankful for my little granddaughter who just celebrated her first birthday.
Nothing like that very first birthday. Anyone else happy? Any more happy people in the house? All right, Miss Lynn.
Debbie is.
I'll just say I'm happy I had another birthday in the Long County the other day. I had a bunch of sweet flowers and stuff sent to me. Thank you for the sweet flowers.
You saved me some of that
deserve
cake.
it. You are sweet friend. All right, Deb Sickles.
Number one, I'm super happy that the Christmas party was a huge success. For those that came, had a wonderful time. To those that left their gifts, I have them in the car. There was one gift left on the table, but you're going to have to tell me what you left. I know what you left, but you have to tell me what you left to get that gift. The second thing is this is our last meeting of the year. Hello, I'm halfway through my year. Yes. And the third one is I have to actually say that there are special people in my life, and y'all weren't here. If you weren't here at the Christmas party, David and Sheila Ellis, will y'all please stand? They were awarded my special volunteers for last week. They helped me decorate. They helped me clean.
Everything.
Yes, and Sheila helped stainless steel clean everything in the kitchen, and I just couldn't be more grateful the way y'all put your service above self. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. And thank you for all the questions.
Sheila was the big winner. Well, I don't know. Maybe Quimby was. Keith Quimby was. Someone threw a $100 bill in there, Al. Or Tammy.
I'm trying to get a gift. I ended up with David's bottle of wine.
Okay, that's it on the happy bucks. Let's do
Yeah, here we go, y'all. For $1,556.72. Would you give me one, sir?
I think I left my tickets back there.
Did you, David? Did you have 3 tickets that were laying on the desk?
I was
Oh, you left yours right there. Get your tickets, because this one is a big winner.
Well, it's going to be me. It's the first 3 off the road today.
All right. Everybody ready?
We're ready.
8, 2, 3. Woo! 5, 6, 7. Five, 6, 7. Here we go, buddy. Let me see. I took that ace of spades out just in case of emergency. So don't worry about it. You can drop it in there one with the other best of the day. Alright, there you go. Did anything about the ladies' ace of spades? Okay, hold on. After you, it's a spade, but not ace of spades. Maybe next time, buddy.
James, would you like to, Mr. Adams, would you like to introduce your guest? When someone slip in.
Prue, my wife, has a good sense of humor. She's been married to me for 70 years next week.
I would also like Michelle Carter and Summer Spurlock to please stand. Please stand. Please stand. Summer Spurlock, Michelle Carter. Just in case you don't know these two, they've been a little bit absent. There's Summer. There's Michelle.
Hey, Michelle's been very active with the human trafficking.
I understand that. I just am glad to see her here at a meeting. It's just been a while. Thank you both for coming.
Summer always has my back for pot and tap, so.
Okay, I am going to, I guess the teacher of the month did not make it here again today. They're ready to go on vacation and Christmas break, and I don't really blame them. So, Summer Spurlock, could you please come to the front of the building?
Here she is.
And can we get a picture?
Yes, I will.
Summer Spurlock, you've been praised the entire month of August, September, October. And I'm going to tell you, Katie didn't really have to fight to give you this award, but we appreciate all you do. We know you're a lot behind the scenes for the Rotary and everything you did for the Cotton Patch. Katie insisted. Katie, get up here and get a picture too. Come on. Our Rotarian of the month for September. I had to beg her to get here. You know how she got here? Mayor Jerry Ransom's here. That's why she He told her I think she had to come. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, congratulations.
Just ignore all of the fact that
It's
it's
okay.
Christmas before we finally got to your September.
And also, something I had forgot, I've been giving these to people that you can put on your card. You can put it somewhere else, but it is for your card.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
And Liz, weren't you Rotarian of the month, October? Huh? In my view, yeah. I forgot to give you your little,
And you gave me one.
I gave you one of these.
Thank you anyway.
I don't know how you just forget to do things every now and then.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, quick announcements before the program. This is our last meeting for 2021. January 5th, 2022 is our first board meeting. It's at 10:30 a.m. right there in the Blue Bonnet Room. Please put it on your calendar. The Road Less Travel's Thursday night. This is the last show for the Road Less Travel for this year. Tickets are still available, general admission for $20. And personally, I want to wish all y'all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I think at this time, I want y'all to reflect mainly on your family and your friends. Set your good word for 2022 and your New Year's resolutions if you need to. But the main thing is to remember Jesus is the reason for the season.
Amen.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I think that kind of covers all of that. So, Dwayne?
I don't know where the microphone is, maybe we don't need one.
Here's one.
Oh,
Here's one.
Here, I'll give you this. Hey,
testing, there we go.
Dwayne, before you start, I got one thing I want to do. I'd like to introduce our newest member to the Rotary Club, Austin Pilgrim.
I have been a Greenville resident for nearly 50 years and born and raised here. And one thing is always constant is change in Greenville. There's a lot of it going on right now, you know, and it's exciting. So I think it's, without further ado, I would like to introduce our mayor, Jerry Ransom, and let him tell us a little bit about what's going on in and around our city.
Hello. My goodness, you guys have a lot of fun.
You should be a member.
Well, I know, technically,
I have an
I'm an
application.
inactive member of the Rotary Club. I don't know if people remember, I was here, I guess in the mid-'80s, and we had somebody that wanted to do a system, had to do a system design review every Wednesday, and I looked up one time and I had about 6 or 7 makeup slips, and I couldn't get in, so I took inactive status.
We don't do that anymore.
That's what I
We'd
understand.
love to have you
No
back.
excuse, right?
No.
But anyway, I always look forward to the midweek break, like I'm sure all of you do. And is that better?
Yeah.
And always the speakers were always interesting to me. I still have some things that I've taken away from some of the speakers. One of the things I learned, probably some of you all know this, that over 60% of police officers are injured by their own gun, and I learned that here in Rotary Club 30 years ago. So anyway, I probably should have put something in the collection plate for Katie Ridge, who kind of invited me to be here today. I wanted to say quickly, she saved me hundreds of dollars the past few years on my Medicare Part D. Okay, there you go. Let me tell you, my company was in the business of pharmacy automation, and Prescription benefit managers are in the business of managing your prescriptions for their benefit. That's the way that works. And with generics and brand names and different copays and deductibles and the way they drive formulary and everything, it's really a shell game. And if you're not having somebody, even the large chains used to deal with this years ago, and that's one of the reasons that Caremark or CVS bought Caremark. But anyway, if you're not having somebody like Katie check on your prescription every year, you should have every year check on it, because this past week we were busy. I texted her my formulary. I take some maintenance drugs, and she saved me $800 this coming year.
Wow.
Just on that. So tune into that when you have a chance. Today I want to talk about Greenville. I'm sorry it's taking me a little while to get there. But if you haven't noticed, Greenville's growing. It's coming. Ready or not, we need to be there. The Census Bureau just reported, we just counted a little over 28,000 people here in Greenville. We think that was a serious undercount based on some metrics we have, which are water meters, electric meters, and some other things that we look at. We feel like our population is more like 30,000, 31,000, 32,000, something like that. If you've been out during rush hour, I know you see the rush hour traffic. This past week, I left the hospital, been visiting somebody, got on Joe Ramsey at Sale Street. It was bumper to bumper from there to Wesley, and it was like 4 lights just to get through that intersection. So it's just amazing. Our sales taxes continue to grow year over year. They're compounding. The last 3 years, they're compounding at a rate of about 20%, up 20% a year. We don't know. A couple of years ago, we were working on the budget, and I told Mayor Dreiling, I said, this was when COVID started, I told him we're $500,000 over on our sales tax. And that year, we were $500,000 over. So he suggested I make some more projections for us, because we exceeded what we had. I think more and more families, particularly in the Metroplex, are attracted to our suburbs. They're here for jobs. Many people can work remotely now. They're here for schools. They want to work for schools. They're here. Crime has become an issue in our culture and in our communities, and of course, quality of life and affordability. And when you talk about affordability, really, we've built over 450 homes in Greenville this year. And it's not just the traditional places you look. If you go to Stonewood Estates, that's a beautiful development that the Ellis family's doing. I don't know how many homes they have there. Altura's doing things. But we've got a lot of renewal going on west of downtown and north of downtown. If you haven't been, go drive out Washington Street west, if you will. Go to Sale and Polk, which is southwest of Graham Park, if you haven't been out that way. There's a really nice development that's going on in Wellington, just south of the hospital there. There's 30 or 40 new homes there, and they're moving a lot of dirt around the high school. There's probably, I think it's 30 or 40 homes there that you'll see that are being built, that you have to get out of Greenville to see that. You can almost in the north and west part, you can almost not throw a rock now and hit a new home or something that's being redone, and that's really good for our community. In addition to that, we probably have, this is a number that just changes almost daily, I would guess. Last night at our city council meeting, we approved in total the zoning for over 600 new homes. They haven't been platted yet, but they will be. And I would imagine that we have over 4,000 home sites platted in Greenville right now. So it's going to take some time to build that out, but you can just imagine what that is. We built 21 new commercial buildings. When you talk about that, I'm sure you've noticed that Ashley's is moving into the promenade. Specs is going to be there. They are coming, if you want to talk about that. We have other liquor depot, fossils, and those people are impacting our sales taxes. We're already over our projection on sales tax for this year. One of the things that is kind of misunderstood is GEUS. Our residential rates here are really 2 cents below the North Texas average. And people don't know that. You see people on Facebook sometimes complaining about our utilities. Also, we have a reliability factor that's unbelievable with GEUS. We have a number of Don Boland, I'm sorry. Don was one of the original people that really got GEUS started for us, and it wasn't as reliable then. It's very, very reliable. During the winter storm, we were complimented by other utility directors, and the governor even mentioned, he said, I don't know what's going on in Greenville, but something's good with our utilities. Yes, we had some rolling back blackouts, but it was really, really a good experience for us. I'm proud to say that the last 5 years, the city council has worked on the tax rate, and we've lowered the tax rate 11 cents in the past 5 years. One of those years, we implemented the tax rate, which meant year over year, property owners should not have to pay anymore for their taxes year over year. We adopted the tax rate minus a half a cent, and it meant nobody should have seen a tax rate increase for the city that year. This past year, our budget, we increased taxes for a $100,000 home, $21. So for a $300,000 home, it's 3 times that, and I'm proud of that. I think people get all the tax statements together and they look at it and they're concerned about it, but I think the city has really, really been focused on taxes and the job we do about that. And also I want to say, you know, the taxes are a combination of the tax rate and the appraisal rate. And as you know, and I think appraisals now have normalized with market prices. Realtors tell me that, the tax district tells me that, so they're much closer to, you know, the market value is what it is. It used to be higher than the market value, and now it's pretty much normalized. So those are some of the reasons I think that people are attracted to Greenville. And one of the things in business, whether it's a family, a business, a city, church, whatever, growth consumes cash. So we're growing, which requires cash, and yet we're struggling a little bit because we have a lot of aging infrastructure in our city. We haven't maintained what we had, and we haven't always built infrastructure that lasts. And you probably noticed that in some of the newer additions where you see streets that are buckling up after being there 10 years or whatever. And we're going to try to, we're really focused on those 2 issues. We have a lot of catching up to do with infrastructure. In the industrial park, we have infrastructure that's there since probably the late 60s or early 70s. Who knows how old the infrastructure is downtown, but we struggle with that, and those are the kind of challenges we have. But one of the things that we have now that's an opportunity for us is historically low interest rates. We've sold the bonds that we recently sold, almost over $120 million in bonds recently for around a little over 2%. And so there's never been an opportunity to do that. And so that is what, those are some of the, that has enabled us to work on some of the projects I want to talk to briefly today. How much time do I have? Is somebody going to
We
tell
will
me?
give you until about 5 till 1.
Okay, well, how?
I'll put a battery in the clock.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. So, well, I'd like to do this, and if there's time for questions, I'd like to do that too, if I can. So today I want to talk about some of the projects that we have going on. First of all, I'll talk about streets. Greenville has 186 miles of streets, and probably 5 or 6 years ago when I got on the council, we had a street improvement program where we started, I think, I'll just say $1 million. I don't know exactly what it was, where we were spending that much money on street improvements each year. And that would usually get us about 15 or 20 streets a year with mill and overlay and replacement and that sort of thing. And with a kind of an unspoken commitment among council members that we would increase that street improvement program $200,000 a year each year as we went through budget years. And so we did that. And when we got to around $2 million, we realized that we were still doing the same number of streets. We weren't catching up. The additional money we were putting in it, the construction costs were catching up. Inflation in construction costs were enabling us. We weren't able to do as many streets as we've been able to do. I don't know if I'm making that clear or not, but I think you understand. Essentially, construction costs were outrunning our ability to really make a mark. So somebody suggested, I wish it had been me, I wish I could take credit for it, that we could use that $2 million a year, would amortize a much bigger bond that we could use to fix streets now, sort of freezing construction costs, if you will, over a 1 or 2 year period. Hopefully they wouldn't inflate that much over that period of time. And since we were already allocating that $2 million a year, it wouldn't cost cost our citizens anything. And so we worked on that. The mayor assigned myself and a couple of people to work on it. And we presented a $50 million bond to the citizens to consider in May, and they passed that bond. And we sold those bonds in September, and they address several different issues. One of them is garden variety potholes. We have regular potholes, as you know, that we fix. We have, I think we counted at one time, maybe we had at least 500 potholes in our city that needed to be fixed. We have utility cuts, which are bigger. They're twice as big as this table, where there's had to be some utility cut to work on a problem. We have a lot of streets that need to be milled and overlaid, and then we have some connector streets, primary streets, that have utilities underneath them that need to be, completely redesigned. The utilities need to be redesigned before we do something like we've done out on Sale Street and that sort of thing. So those funds are used for that, and we hope to complete that program in 2 years. We've outsourced it a lot we're not doing it with our own street department for the most part. We've outsourced that to contractors, and we get reports on that every, we got one last night. I can't remember how many potholes and utility cuts we fixed, but we get reports on that, and we're moving along with that pretty well, I think. Part of that bond does include the extension of what many of you may know as Dent Road, the Roy Warren extension from Traders Road to 1570, which we think will also open up more property for development and alleviate some traffic on 34. So that is included. We've also completed, we're about to complete the Stonewall construction, and of course, we've completed Stonewall, and the Sale Street construction should be completed very soon. We think we'll start on the Roy Warren extension sometime in the next couple of months. I think the only thing, there's a few issues that we need to resolve there before we get that started. So that's kind of an update on streets. I want to talk about water for just a minute. And one of the things I want to talk about water, I don't know if you're aware, and I'm going to talk generically about it, but last night at City Council meeting, we signed a pilot agreement for probably what is the biggest deal that's happened to our city and Hunt County. Maybe, I guess I'll say Hunt County too. But our city, since Rubbermaid was announced and came here, or probably since L3, whatever it was LTV Electric Systems when I came here. L3 Harris decided to move here. It's a dairy manufacturing facility. They're going to invest about $400 million in CapEx in our community. It's going to create about 280 high-paying jobs. I think the average job starts about $50,000 a year or more. And they do dairy products. It's a company from the Midwest, or from the Northeast, that's been in the dairy products business. It's privately owned, fifth-generation company. It's been in the dairy business for 175 years. I think since 1846, if that math adds up. But anyway, it's some of you may know it's Hood. It's such a big project that we want to give the governor the opportunity to announce it. So we're kind of playing it low key if we can in the community. But it's HP Hood is who it is. We're very excited about that. They're going to use 1 million gallons of water today. And while we're talking about water, the reason I brought that up is they came in. Of course, those projects take a long time. We've been working on it since February or so. They tested our water 38 times, and it passed muster, and we got an A grade from them. They need top quality water, of course, for milk products and that sort of thing. And so we got a very good grade on our water. I want to talk about that. But when you talk about water, I'm sure some of you know, our water comes from Lake Tawakoni via a raw water line that runs from the eastern shore of Lake Tawakoni. It's a 21-mile line that runs from the eastern shore of Lake Tawakoni across the Sabine River and up kind of parallel with 69 to our reservoirs in the north part of Greenville, where it's treated and then distributed to our customers. The line is 60 years old. We think at least 60 years old. It breaks 3 or 4 or 5 times a year. Each cost is about $25,000 to $40,000. So it's costing us $100,000 to $150,000 a year just to fix that line. It's a 27-inch concrete encased line that's been there we think over 60 years. It has a maximum capacity of about 10 million gallons a day, a year. And I don't know if you remember, several years ago, in 2008 and 2013, we sort of faced a crisis. Now, in our reservoirs out there, we can store enough water for our citizens, or used to, for at least about 4 months, 2 to 4 months, something like that. And in 2008 and 2013, if you recall, we had a drought. Lake Tawakoni got, I think, 14 feet low at one time. You remember in the paper we were concerned about our intake down there, being able to pick up the water and get it to us. And I'll never forget, and I know Link is here too, we've shared this. I was driving to Dallas and listening to PBS radio, and they were talking about the drought, and they had this climatologist on there. He was going to talk about the drought, and he said, he very self-righteously proclaimed, he said, the lakes of North Texas will never be full again. And in about 3 days, it started raining, and in about a week, it was overflowing. So we can all be happy he said that, right? And Link, I want to just say, Link has been involved in working with the water stuff. I don't know how long he was on the Sabine River Authority, but many years, I would guess 30 years maybe. And he has been a tremendous asset to us. I think Link probably knows more about water districts than some of the directors of the water districts that are managing these water districts. It's amazing the stuff that he knows. He's been very helpful, and we certainly thank. But Link remembers that same day. I think he was driving to a board meeting at maybe Nacogdoches or someplace, and it rained so hard he had to get off the road. So anyway, it's interesting at that time. So the crisis was averted. We got water. We were able to get water for a while, but we've never really resolved that raw water line problem, and we sold bonds to do that. We think it'll cost between $40 and $50 million, and we sold those bonds at 2.19%, 2.2%, and we have some reserve money that we could do on that with that too. We were averaging several years ago about 4 million gallons a day for our citizens. We've almost doubled that need now, and so it's time to replace that. I don't know if I mentioned this new prospect that I think I did mention it, this new project that I mentioned last night that we just signed. We use 1 million gallons of water a day. Maybe I said that earlier. The new pipe that we'll put in is a 36-inch fusible pipe. It's real interesting. You can install it open cut. In other words, in a trench, you can drive the trench and put the pipe in, or you can bore it. I think you can bore as much as 8,000 feet, that pipe, underground to do it. And so we're working on that. We have supply chain issues just like everybody else. We're trying to freeze the cost of that pipe right now, and we're doing the design, but we think we'll be able to start that mid-summer. That pipe will be capable of transmitting 26 million gallons a day, so it should solve our water needs for a long, long time. Eventually that existing pipe will be rehabbed so we can use it kind of as a backup. And the next phase of that, which Link will also be helping us with, is is our water treatment. We kind of handle that too. Want to get the water to Greenville. Now we're going to have to treat the water. We can treat about 14 million gallons a day now. Just got some good news on that. And so we've got a little buffer with regard to treatment. And we're hoping that some of these funds, infrastructure funds that you hear about, we're hoping that we'll be able to leverage that to get some of that. We've talked to some of our representatives about that, and I think that they don't have any guidance now anyway, but or right now anyway. But we hope that there'll be some funds available for us. Our wastewater treatment plant will handle 6 million gallons a day. This new project that we just announced uses a lot of wastewater too, as you can imagine. We've reached the point that the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality has standards that they have, and when you reach a certain percent, you have to start a redesign of the. Link's shaking his head over there. You have to start a redesign, and then when you reach another level, you have to start the construction. And we've reached the area where we started the redesign, or a design, not a redesign, a design on our wastewater treatment facility. And we'll approach that as we go. A couple of other projects that I want to talk about just briefly. We have, if I can find them here, we have two public safety projects that we included in that bond. One of them is the radio system. Our radios that we have now, our police can't talk to our fire. We can't. A lot of times they get in the building, they can't talk to people. The systems that we have aren't maintained by the manufacturer anymore. So one of the things we're going to be doing is upgrading our radio infrastructure so that everybody can talk together. We can also probably talk to L3 and that sort of thing. And then the other thing that we have is Emergency Operations Center. We don't have the current fire administration building was a fire station in 1953. If you haven't been down there, it's on I can't think of the street. Templeton. I wanted to say Templeton. It's on Templeton. It was converted to administration building in 2005, and it's crowded. It's abysmal conditions. It's just unbelievable. And we maintain blueprints of some of the buildings that we have, key buildings that we have. It's for archiving those blueprints that we have. It's nearly impossible. We don't have a training center for our firemen, which includes, dealing with smoke and that sort of thing. So we've included an emergency operations center in those location for the present time. The other thing that we did a few years ago, if you remember where Lawson School was, I know some of you know where it was, down on Wesley Street. We cleaned that off and we allocated about $300,000 for a park. So those are the things that we're going to be doing right now. I want to tell you, really, I'm very honored to be your mayor. Living and locating my business here was always a choice for me, and what I'm getting ready to say is not about me. I want to tell you why I'm positive about Greenville and why I really am is because we have great leadership here. Summer Spurlock is unbelievable. We had a lot of wastewater issues just recently. 11th hour deal, and every deal you do is a big deal. It always finishes on the 11th hour. And we were doing that, and she and our public works director were going. This company had 60 consultants that are working on this deal. 60 consultants, and they were able to go toe to toe with those people and their legal team to work out the wastewater issues that we had, and it's impressive. And she has a magnificent tool, I think. It's almost a photographic memory. So if you've ever managed or been managed, I know Mr. Adams used to manage me. So if you've ever well, you're my mentor anyway. Anyway, if you've ever managed or been managed, it's pretty nice if you can say, well, Jimmy, you said this like 2 weeks ago. Which is it? Which is it? And Summer's amazing. She really is. We interviewed 6 or 7 candidates. Nobody was ever happy. We gave her an opportunity to try us and her try her, and I think we could interview 100 people and not found anybody as good as her. She really is amazing. Link's worked with her, very interesting. Alicia Hooks is somebody I want to talk about. She's the director of our GEUS board. Many of you served on the GEUS board. I don't know if any of you have met her, but she is currently, the power business isn't like, like your grandfather's power agency anymore. We used to do it with lignite and gas and that sort. Now we have 20% of the stuff we have is renewables. We have ERCOT to deal with. You've heard about all that with the winter storm. And she just deals with a whole lot of different issues than we've ever had to deal with in the past, or at least had to deal with when I was on the GEUS board. She's also recognized, not just in Greenville for what she does, but she is also currently the president of the Texas Public Power Association. And I don't know if you ever had her, but you ought to have her come to speak sometime. You ought to get Summer to speak sometime. If you have,
We'd love to.
Okay. And of course, many of you know Greg Sims. I know many of you have served on the board of development and working with Greg. He is the past president of the Texas Economic Development Council, which is about 800 developers, cities and developers that develop statewide, and he's the past president of that, and has done a great job. And he did a lot of work in bringing in this recent project that we have, and he has a lot more in his oven working on them. So anyway, and I want to mention Carol Kirkendall. She's our city secretary. Don't confuse secretary with what she does. I'll just tell you that. Those of you who've served on the city council know what a secretary is. She keeps us coloring between the lines. She has a tremendous historical background about what's happened in the city. She has a good memory too. And it's just a pleasure working with these people. And it's those people that are leading our community. And that is what makes me very, very positive about where we are and where we're going with Greenville. Having said that, if there's time, I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. Yes?
So the new water line, is it gonna go right where the old one is?
It's going to go to the reservoirs that we have. Yes, we hope to use a lot of the same right-of-way that we have. Yes, it will be, yes. It'll run parallel with what we have now. Yes?
Yeah, I do. Just a clarification with the whole water thing, because yes, I remember the 2008, I was hitting golf balls out over to Wockney
Yeah.
at that point. You've mentioned the improvements on the wastewater system. Is that then going to put more water that can be then put back into general use? Or will we need another reservoir to counteract the possibility of future droughts and increasing?
No, I think we're contracted with 19 million gallons a day with Tawakanee, and I think one of the things I didn't mention, there's an intake down there that actually Link and Press got in a boat and went out, I think about 800 feet and found a much deeper channel. And so part of that project, I guess to answer your question is, I should have mentioned that, I'm sorry, I forgot it. Part of that project is to move the intake out into that channel. It's about, what, 35 feet deep? Is that what you found?
27.
25, okay, 25 feet deep, but it's deeper than the intake that we have now. So, and we have enough water. To be very honest, we see water, the demand for water. We currently sell water to a number of smaller utilities, Cattle Mills, Shady Grove, and I don't remember who the other one. But we see that as possibly, water's a liquid gold, and we see that as a possible profit center for Greenville, somewhat like GEUS was years ago. Although GEUS doesn't sell, but we see the demand for supplying water to other people who need it. We see that as a possibility.
So with the growth of Greenville, you don't see the need for another reservoir here in case of emergency?
I don't think we need one not for the next 30 or 40 years. I'll be in a pine box from that. Yes.
It's planned.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being our mayor, and we're excited to see all the growth that's going on, especially with all the liquor stores and all the revenue.
Actually,
My question is, do you foresee any updates going on Wesley and 34 because of businesses are going south and 34 is just so congested and it's only 2 lanes?
Yes, I don't know. I can't tell you the exact timeline, but there is, all of that is going to be reworked and will have to be reworked. One of these, a lot of the zoning that we did last night is behind that new tractor supply that's going to be there. It's like they had 400 and some homes right behind there, and then there's another area where they have, anyway, in total it's 500, and I did the math, I think it's 544 or 42 homes that will be platted in that area we zoned last night. Behind the tractor supply in that area there that's undeveloped, behind that, west of 34 in that area. And actually the people that are doing that own the area where the tractor supply is located. They sold that property to Tractor Supply. Yes. Yes, Rick?
My question's along the same lines. So from an emergency management response perspective, the ambulances, there's only 2 routes from the south part of the county to the hospital.
Right.
And they're both in crazy congested,
Yeah.
as you were kind of talking about. Is there any way that we can expect or hope that transportation system could be improved for those kind of things? I mean, the road that goes by the junior college, I can't remember the name of it.
Monty Stratton.
Is that going to be pushed south
Absolutely.
somehow?
We're going to have to do something with that. There's no question about it. I mean, it's, we've talked about that. We're going to have to do something.
That can connect to the hospital too.
Yeah, it could, yes. Well, no. Yes, there is there's so much going on. Yes, there is an extension. We've talked about an extension. Some are helping with this. We talk about an extension from the north part of Monty Stratton that goes through that area to meet up with Wellington Street, southwest of yours, that would come into the hospital. Yes, yes. We just did the design.
Have to go further south to 1572 or something.
Yeah. Now, some of those areas you're talking about are state highways. Wesley Street is a state highway.
Yeah.
So, but yes, yeah, it's unbelievable. The traffic, even in Quinlan, you can see.
What's going in?
It's horrible. Yes.
What's going in, what are they building right now next to Harbor Freight? Where they put in that little house between that little strip center, where Grace Ford and all that used to be. It's clear and the framework is there right now. They have a little sign up. Summer, you know? You know what they're building next to Harbor Freight?
I know where.
34.
It's 3 buildings down.
Yeah, like there's.
I know where you're talking about.
I do know, but I don't know the business.
Well, fill us in.
It's a secret.
We won't tell nobody. No one in this room would tell nobody. Any other questions for Dr. Ransom? No, whatever. Dr. Jerry Ransom. Here, wait, you're not done.
Oh, okay.
First, I want to thank you for being our speaker. And Rotarians are known as people of action. And so everyone that comes here definitely is a person of action, but you definitely are because you have helped our city so much. I hope this goes on you. And we love everything you do for the community. And wait a minute, could we say something together? Boomer Sooner!
Thank you all for being here. Very nice.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
being.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure he'll stick around a little bit if y'all want to chit chat with him personally.
Yeah.
And again, I want y'all to be safe and have a wonderful Merry Christmas
Merry
and
Christmas.
a super Happy New Year. And if we can do anything, y'all, I guess use the email or the phone and we'll chit chat. That's Rotary for today.
Video has been brought to you by GEUS 34. GEUS is your community-owned provider for electric, internet, cable TV, and true local programming.